multiple teams sniffing around, trying to get their hands on Danielle Hunter. All right, welcome back to the Onebar and Lupagus show. I am Onebar with Lupagus, and according to Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, multiple teams have inquired about the trade availability of Pro Bowl defensive end Danielle freaking Hunter.
Yeah, and let's get into this. Before we do, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the vids. We are, how close are we to 6K?
We're very close to 6,000. We got to start it now. Hashtag 6,000 in the comments. I know people have been doing it, but 6,000, hashtag 6,000, winner, chicken dinner. We don't know what it is yet, but it'll be something good.
Oh, I have some ideas, and I'm excited. Maybe a pair of Vikings Zubas.
Vikings Zubas actually is on the table for sure, but what is Danielle Hunter being traded on the table? That's what we're going to talk about. We know this has been a talker, but this is the first we've heard teams are actually reaching out to the Vikings, saying, hey, we want this guy.
Well, this is a little more of actually a bit of a relief for me, because this is one of the dominoes that have to fall. It's Kirk Cousins, Danielle Hunter. Those are the two big question marks with this team. The two biggest, really cap hits coming up. I think he's 18-something million on the 20th. It hits the team. So it's also very, very tricky. This is a fine line to walk, and it's not a very black and white answer to this one.
It's not, but there's a couple things that stick out to me. Multiple teams have reached out. Love hearing that. Let's up the ante. I don't think either of us want to get rid of Danielle Hunter unless the price was just too good to pass up on. So, but multiple teams reaching out, and the fact that teams are reaching out in general. This is a guy that's had some injury issues, and we didn't know if there'd be much of a market for him. But clearly teams realize how damn much of a beast this guy is.
Well, it's so hard. And that's the problem. It has been those injuries. He missed the entire 2020 season, and he played half the year last year. So that's what makes it so hard. You cannot deny Danielle Hunter's talent. He's just one of these rare players who's also not just great as a pass rusher, but he's so good against the run. He can also stuff the run. Yes, he'll be playing primarily in a 3-4 front with some 4-3 mixed in this year in the Vikings 2 defense, but I don't think that would slow him down at all. I think he'd be absolutely fine in that role. So he's literally one of the best defensive players in the league. He's still young. What is he, 28, I believe, 27-ish, somewhere in there.
If you're in the vicinity here, I'll get him.
So he's still very young. And
27.
To me, the only thing that devalues him at all is those injuries, and that's what makes this a little more complicated than it should be.
Yeah, and really going to a 3-4 almost makes me want to trade him less. I don't care if putting him outside, he might even be more of a beast. We might be really missing the boat on a huge piece of this transition to a 3-4. So, like I said, I don't want to get rid of him. What he's being paid, it doesn't concern me at all. It's just the injuries. But if somebody came to the table with a ridiculous offer, you got to listen to it. You got to look at it and maybe go with it. There's a lot of things that the Vikings need to do in the next couple of days, and this could very well be one of them.
It's not unexpected. This is definitely something we've talked about. We've hinted at Danielle Hunter being moved. It's just part of the process here. It's part of this new regime coming in, part of the transition to how this Minnesota Vikings team is going to look the next couple of years. Kirk Cousins is a big part of that as well. Harrison Smith, Adam Thielen. There's a lot of guys who have ties to how this thing's going to shake out, and them being moved, them being restructured, however this thing's going to work out. And Danielle Hunter is honestly the second biggest piece next to Kirk Cousins, how this team's going to look moving forward. Now, I think we should really talk about the compensation. What would we want to move him for? What would we accept? What would we be willing to give up to let this guy go? Because Danielle Hunter, he is a rare talent. He really is. He's a truly special player and not somebody you just stumble upon every single year.
I wouldn't even know where to guess. I could say I want a first and a second or whatever. Who knows? Amari Cooper, even though they're going to release the guy anyways, goes for pretty much nothing. It's so damn hard to guess. I would have no clue. I would have no idea what to guess he would go for.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw guessing out of the boat. What I would take for him, I think I'd let him go for a first and a third. Maybe that's low. I don't know. That's what I would if someone offered me a first and third enough for Danielle Hunter with his injuries, knowing that we're a team that's probably not going to compete. I mean, seriously for a title, maybe 2 years from now. I would take that.
As long as we realize whatever we get for him is probably not going to line up with what we will end up getting for him. I mean, if we let Danielle Hunter, if we trade him away for a first round pick, obviously we're going to have to go. I mean, that's a huge part of this defense. We're going to have to go edge. We're going to have to get like a David Ojabo or somebody like that. That's probably not going to be as good as Danielle Hunter. As long as we realize that and just know we're starting with a new player, defense, whatever. We just got to be realistic about it. I have no idea. First and a third, while that's probably more than we'd end up getting for him, that still doesn't sit right with me. But it's just because Danielle Hunter's a freak. He's a freak.
Well, he is a freak, and he's a special player. But the thing that is going to lower his value is the injuries. I mean, he missed the entire 2020 season, and he played half a year last year. So that is not going to be overlooked by teams that are offering picks, to get this guy. They're going to factor that in, and that's going to hurt his value, whether it's fair or not. His injury history is something that's going to factor into this.
It is, but also what will factor into it is just how damn good he is. And I do believe the Vikings want him on this team, and I think they would have to get absolutely blown away to the point where it was a draft pick and a player that could come in on this defense and fit well with it. So.
And I think that's where the Vikings had the advantage. This is Jeremy Fowler reporting that they're not actively shopping him, but they're getting inquiries about him. So the Vikings have the high ground here, just like Obi-Wan Kenobi against Anakin Skywalker in Revenge of the Sith. He had the high ground. The Vikings had the high ground. They can decide what they want to do with this thing.
Dork.
Yeah, you know what? I'm guaranteeing you we have at least 1,000 viewers who agree with me on my high ground reference.
Well, let us know in the comments if the compensation was right. Would you deal Danielle Hunter? Do you think he's gonzo? Do you think he's staying? Let us know in the comments. And as always, subscribe, like the video, talking Vikings every damn day. And tomorrow we'll be back talking free agency.
And let me know what you guys think about this. Which reminds me of you, Onebar. Howler monkeys with the smallest testicles tend to scream the loudest.